Hello. It's not often we do one of these sit down and talk videos now, maybe once every month, once every 3 weeks, something like that. I wanted to just sit here and do one final one of these for the year, just to recap the entire year as a whole. It was a very big year for me, very dramatic, very scary year, and now in some weird ways, um, one of the best years that I've had in the past maybe 4 or 5 years. It was all over the place, and many of you watching will know the reasons as to why. But to summarize, if we start at the beginning of the year, I was working as a graphic designer at a place that I'd been at for almost 6 years. Um, and in the first few months of the year, I was quite ill. I didn't know it, but my blood results would go on to show that I needed to go to hospital. And now I don't think many people on the channel will know this part. It is a video on my channel discussing why I had to go to hospital. And there's a video that I made like a few days after getting back and things like that. But at the time, the channel was pretty small. Like I want to say maybe 2,000 subs. And therefore that video didn't get many views. Like my core audience of maybe a couple hundred viewed it, and that was it. But essentially what happened is, for those who don't know, really quickly, I'm sure many of you already do, I had a liver transplant now, God, is it 5 years ago, almost? I think it's 4.5, coming up to 5 years ago now. To save my life, I had an incurable liver disease. I was very, very, very ill, and therefore the only solution was to give me a transplant, and obviously I'm here. It worked, and I just have to take medication now and again every day, to make sure that organ isn't rejected. It's pretty simple, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do any like super intense workouts that are going to stretch scar tissue, etc., and take your meds, and then get checked up at the doctors every 3 to 6 months. Like that's it. It's pretty simple, which is good. However, at the beginning of the year, yeah, I was terrible at taking my medication. Admittedly, I skipped maybe a couple days every week and thought nothing of it. Thinking, well, if I'm taking it 5 days a week rather than 7, surely it's not going to do me that much harm. And it was pure laziness. It was just, oh, I've gone to bed, the medication's in the other room, I can't be bothered to get out of bed at 11 p.m, it's cold, I'll just take it the next day and it'll be fine. But doing that repeatedly for weeks on end meant that my blood results changed. And they changed so much that the hospital actually phoned me up and said, you need to cancel whatever you're doing, which at the time was playing a video game called Ascendant, I think it is. With a couple of friends. I was streaming the playtest for the game, and I get a call from the hospital saying, you need to stop what you're doing. Your blood results are so bad that we are booking you an Uber to take you to the hospital, and you're going to be staying with us for a week, which was crazy to me. Nothing like that had ever happened before. So yeah, that happened. They booked an Uber. I went there for about a week. This was in beginning of March. They flooded me full of steroids, which I probably still have some like oral tablets of on this desk. My phone's vibrating. This desk is full of all kinds of medication and things like all over the place. Anything from your basic Strepsils all the way to immunosuppressants, hay fever medication, more immunosuppressants. If I grab a whole bag full of it here, don't want to show my address or anything. So yeah, I stayed there. They flooded me with those, hooked me up to an IV with a cannula and things like that, and then changed my medication to a bit of a higher dosage to reaccount for the ones that I'd missed, and also made it more simple for me. So I'm taking less tablets per day to make it easier, and I haven't had to go back since then. That is obviously now 8 months ago, so it's working. I do have an appointment in January just to check up and see if it's all still good. I'm sure it is. Because again, admittedly, I've missed a couple days, but nowhere near what I'd missed before. I might miss a couple days a month now, which is fine. Like, missing a day every 3 weeks or something is not going to affect it, but missing like 2 or 3 every week is. So I've improved it drastically. So that's good. So that was the bit of the fright at the beginning of the year, was the beginning of what we'd call acute liver rejection. Then, shortly, 2 months after that, or maybe not even, maybe like, let's say 6 weeks after that, I lose my job, which was the big part of this channel. That's why many, many people watching this are probably subscribed. My phones keep on all vibrating. I'm sorry. I'm going to move them off this desk. So, yeah. May, what was it? Like, what was it? May 3rd, 4th, something like that. I was told that I was going to be made redundant, that the workplace didn't need me anymore, essentially. That business where I was a graphic designer at went through a bad financial either quarter or entire year. I don't exactly know. And they had to let go a few people. It wasn't just me. I think it was between maybe 5, 6, possibly 7 people. Somewhere between 5 and 10 people were let go, I believe. And mine was a simple one for them, as we all know, or as probably 95% of people watching know. They essentially, took my templates that I'd made over the years as a graphic designer there. I made my own templates to make my work easier so I didn't have to create things from scratch all the time. Very smart thing to do. But obviously my mistake was informing them I did that to get some brownie points at the company, and also supplying those to other people that worked there that were above me in the food chain. And therefore, they said, well, if we can just automate these with the use of basic automation, AI, etc., we don't need you. So yeah, that we all know that story pretty much. Or if you don't, you can go and watch it. I've got like probably 5 videos on it. And yeah, I was replaced by a robot, essentially, by machines or a machine, and that's why there's like, that's why I've got almost 19,000 subs on this channel now, because that story blew up. That story could have blown up more than it did. I think in total the views on that series of videos across my channel and other people's channels has close to 3 million views, which is massive, because then you also hear stories about, it's also got hundreds of thousands on Reddit. It's got tens of thousands on LinkedIn and Facebook. So it's probably safe to say somewhere in the region between 3 and 4 million people know about my story, which is absolutely mental. It could have been millions more. Something that I've barely spoken about on this channel, but now I'm going to, because I don't think it's coming to fruition, is I was meant to be on TV, and there was meant to be at least 3 newspaper articles about me. I was contacted by ITV News, which is big here in the UK. Specifically, it was Good Morning Britain, but I haven't heard anything from them for like 7-8 weeks now. And then BBC as well, Yahoo Business, or Yahoo Finance, one of the two, the New York Times, and someone else, but I'm missing their name. But yeah, there was in total about 5 publications, and a law firm as well. All contacted me for interviews, and I did interviews with 3 of them. The Guardian was another one. Yeah. I did telephone or FaceTime style, Zoom interviews with 3 of those. I'm sorry if my camera's flickering, by the way, just a bit of a interruption here. It keeps doing that for some reason on my end. I'm not sure if it's doing it on the video. That's really annoying. But yeah, did interviews with them. They said, this will be drafted up as a newspaper article, either in a physical paper or online within the next few weeks to months. We'll keep you updated. And then pretty much after that, communication just stopped. Like, they never did it. Now, Other things in the year happened, like the US presidential election obviously, that took priority over my story. And then it was coming up to Christmas, etc. So, yeah, it's not the biggest story in the world when other things are going on. But I've yet to receive any update on those things. So I thought, you know what? Just put it out there in the world. If they still want to do the story, I'm still happy to do it. I'll still go on television, etc. That was one of the things that was pitched to me, is going down to the ITV studios, I think maybe in London, and being on television, to have maybe a 2 to 3, possibly 5 minute segment on me or something. When there's a broader section about automation, AI, job loss, etc. in the news, they'd bring me into that section. So maybe they're still waiting for that. Who knows? But yeah, that never happened this year. Maybe it happens in 2025. Maybe it will never happen, because now this whole story isn't as it's not as dramatic anymore. It's not as it's not as harsh, not as like raw anymore. It's not as interesting, because I've landed a new role, and I'm no longer scared. I'm no longer fighting to make any little money I can to keep my house, etc. There's no sob story behind it anymore, and maybe that's why news articles aren't interested. So yeah, that was meant to happen. I was meant to, by now there was meant to be 2 news articles about me and potentially be on TV, which means millions and millions and millions of more people have known. Like, to put it simply, I would have been a household name. Something like, I don't know, maybe I think it's between 3 and 4 million people watch ITV/Good Morning Britain every day. Then they would have put it on their YouTube channel probably. Places like Yahoo, The Guardian, etc., BBC News, those have millions of people that read them every day. Safe to say that anywhere between maybe 8 to 10 million more people could have known about the story. Which, would have been crazy. But yeah, didn't happen. Throughout all of those interviews and things happening, obviously, I was searching for jobs. Many of you know it took me just under 6, so we'll say about 5 months to find a new job. I applied for somewhere between 150 to 200 positions. Had interviews for 11 of those, which is actually quite a high success rate. I think these days the average is like 1 in 40 or 50 you'd get an interview for. So having 11 is actually pretty high. So that was like a good sign to me that, hopefully something would pop up. And I actually got accepted for 3 of those positions in the end. One of them was a simple retail job at a supermarket store here called Morrison's. Unfortunately, I couldn't accept that, but looking back, I'm glad I obviously couldn't. The reasons were simple. One, I couldn't get transport there during the hours they wanted, and even if I could, for example, getting an Uber, the amount of money they paid me would mean that I would still not be able to afford my house, because it was only a part-time position. So that never happened. And then I got accepted for the position I'm at now, PC specialist, as many of you know, being their like in-house YouTube and social media guy. So I do their YouTube videos now, their TikToks, their Instagram reels, and then I post their social medias like Facebook, Twitter, and now I've just started doing some Reddit mod and Discord, etc. as well. It's and a big part, I asked, what was my YouTube blow up and me making videos and things and me being involved in kind of this like gaming culture, etc., or just internet culture, a big reason why you hired me? And they said, yeah, it was. So it's so weird how the reason I'm in the position I am now is because of the position I was in now, 6-7 months ago. Well, even sooner than that. It was only 3 months ago I was still technically in the position. So yeah, I've been a PC specialist now for almost 2 months. So yeah. The other position was another graphic design position, which ironically was directly opposite where I used to work. And there was a small part of me that wanted to go for that position purely for the enjoyment of being able to walk out of an office and like see where I used to work and see all the people that I used to work with and be able to talk to them and like, imagine everything unfolded. I do go on the news, there is articles about me, and they have to see me like every day. That would have been hilarious. But ultimately, this one was closer to home. The position I'm in now, the PC specialist, I'm more interested in it. It was where I wanted to take my career rather than sticking to graphic design again. And it was the same amount of money. So, no brainer, really. If the other place offered me loads more money, like if they offered me like 5 or 6,000 more, maybe I would have chose that instead. But, that was the only way they were going to get me, is by offering me a lot more money. Because I would have had to spend between 1.5 to 2k a year on transport to that office. And it would have been a lot longer transport, 2 hours per day. So yeah, the only way they would have got me is by offering me a wedge of cash, basically. And they didn't. So yeah. And now I've been at PC Specialist for, like I said, it's been about 7 weeks, almost 2 months. By the end of next week, it'll be 2 months. And it's going really well. The social media accounts for PC Specialist are the most active they've been all year. Since I started, I've generated around, it's just under, I think we can hit it by the end of the year, but right now it's just under 1 million impressions in the course of the 7 weeks I've been there. And throughout the entire year, they've done 1.3 million. So before I started, they'd only done 300,000 impressions. So I've quadrupled their impressions in the space of 7 weeks. So it's going very well. We've just done a free PC giveaway, which is a huge amount of those impressions that were drawn. However, even without that, I still generated more impressions in 7 weeks than they did through the rest of the year. So yeah, safe to say, I've got to grips with the social media stuff pretty easily, and I'm taking that in a direction which I think is better for that company. I've always said with social media, just to summarize really quickly, I've always said that treating social media as a person and not a brand is the best way forward. Making sure that your community know who's behind the screen is essential for many companies. Companies and brands in general get a very, there's a stigma online to hate them, that they're purely there to sell you products, etc. And like it's all a robot behind the screen, it's chatbots, it's not real human beings, it's automated replies, etc. If there is a human behind that brand, I think it's pivotal that you let the audience know there is a real human being behind it. And I've been doing that. I've been tagging myself as new social guy. I've been engaging with the audience through talking through Discord, through videos, through just tweets, etc., Facebook posts, and it's working. So there's like a genuine connection being built with that community as a result of the way I'm approaching it. So yeah, there we go. And that's where we're at to now. The free PC we were giving away, as I'm recording this video, it hasn't been given away, but when this is uploaded, I'll probably be like emailing the people that have won. So, or I'll either be emailing the people that have won or packaging it to be sent to them. So like when this is uploaded, it'll be going to those people. So yeah. We'll be giving away another one next year as well, I'm sure. So, yeah. If you want to follow PC Specialist for that, you can do. But it's UK and EU only. Also, if this doesn't stop flickering, I'm going to get really annoyed. Like, why is it doing it? Why? yeah, that's it. This video's been way longer than I thought it would be. I was aiming for like maybe 12 minutes, and it's been 20. But that's it. That's the year summarized, I guess. Um, you know, where do we go in 2025? I've already said on a previous video, I think, very shortly. I want to, first of all, get a new camera that actually focuses. There we go. This one is quite new, but I don't know, it started off good and it's just getting worse as time goes on. I don't know why. I've only had it for a few months and it's annoying me now. The direction of the channel. I've changed it here and there. At the moment, it's like me talking about video games, me talking about creator news, and the occasional life update thing like this. That's pretty much the channel. I think that's how it's going to be for the foreseeable future, for the next few months at least. But I do want to slowly drip feed in some fitness stuff, because I've said for the past few years, probably since I had my operation, so let's say the past 4 years, maybe 5, said to myself, I want to get in shape and things. I'm not like out of shape, I'm not fat or anything like that. But I am maybe like 1 stone over that, which for you Americans that are watching is in pounds. What is it? Like, yeah, not much. It's like 14 to 15 pounds. So I want to lose that. So maybe I'll be like, yeah, I could do some fitness content for a couple months to help me lose that. I've always been into the YouTube boxing stuff, and that is something that I would absolutely love to do. However, obviously there's massive complications as a result of me having a liver transplant. It's highly unlikely that a boxing commission would ever allow me to do that. But like, I watch every single event that those guys do, whether it's Most Valuable, Misfits. There's another one called DKM Plush, I think. I used to watch the Social Gloves ones. What else? What were they called? Kingpin. And then I watch like all the free fights on DAZN. I have a subscription, etc. I've been massive into boxing for the past few years. It's something that, yeah, if any of them were like, hey, this mid-sized YouTuber with almost 20k subs wants to hop on an undercard or something, I'd do it just to tick off a box, So maybe some fitness content to generate a little bit of speculation and hype around that, and maybe it comes to fruition somehow. I don't know, but probably not. But just for my own, my own journey and on my own record, and to be able to look back at it and things, I'd want to do a couple fitness videos, so I can document it, etc., even if it doesn't result in it going any further. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, 2025, more gaming stuff, more creator news, start to do some fitness stuff, and then occasional Pokemon stuff, because I'm always into Pokemon. As many of you, well, not many actually, the video didn't get that many views, but excuse me, the big motorbike went past. Yeah, I've been unboxing Pokemon cards recently, and I pulled a $400 or like £300 card in the last box. That was pretty cool. I've always been into Pokemon, so maybe there'll be the odd Pokemon unboxing, etc. So yeah, that's everything. That's pretty much this year summarized, and what I intend to do for 2025. So pretty much just more of the same plus little bits of extra. So yeah, that's it. All right, this is going to be 25 minutes long. For those of you who stuck around for the very end, thanks. For those of you who stuck around for the past few months, thanks. It all worked out in the end, luckily. Everything happens for a reason. And now we can, push forward, as I have been doing for the past few months now. I haven't thought about the whole losing my job thing that much, to be honest. So yeah, push that aside, move forward, and yeah. All right, thanks for watching. See you in 2025, and goodbye.